We really are living in historical times. Dow Jones futures last night, the Dow futures down over 300 points, getting crushed. This morning, the president and Steve Mnuchin come out and tell us that the Chinese called turning the Dow Jones around, a 700-point pumpathon. Dow Jones closes up today 270 points because the Chinese called. And there's people out there that believe that there is no manipulation in these markets. It's Monday, August 26, 2019. After watching another day of this manipulation take place, I'm going to tell you, nothing makes me feel better than knowing that I have hard assets. I got this today from SD Bullion. This just came in, and I'm going to open it for you. Right now, we're going to do a live unboxing. Open that up. It just reinforces exactly what I'm saying, and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. It may not be right for you, but for me, there is no option but to be buying hard, tangible assets. Got this card from SD Bullion. I don't know if you can see that, but this is all wrapped up very nicely. So I'll open this up. See what we got here. And I'm just, converting fiat paper monopoly money. This thing is really wrapped in here real nice. Into a real hard asset, into real money. So let's cut this open. See if we can get in here. There we go. So I ordered a 1 ounce gold buffalo. I don't know if that's going to show up for you. Hopefully you can see that. But this, to me, is really one of the only options I have, is to own hard, tangible assets like gold and silver. So 1 ounce buffalo from SD Bullion. Again, I highly recommend them. I have a link down below. If you're looking to purchase gold or silver, I have a link down below, SD Bullion. They've been great. I ordered this about a week ago or so, and they've been quick. They're super awake. They know what's going on. Quality and time has been great. So again, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. Hard tangible assets. By the way, I ordered more silver last week that will be coming in shortly, and I will show you that when it comes in too. So I'm taking this fiat paper monopoly money that's just sitting, that I'm working hard to acquire, right? That's devaluing every day. And so instead of just letting it sit in a bank or sitting in cash, wasting away, I feel a lot safer owning this, especially after what I witnessed take place yet again today in the stock market. This manipulation, this market rigging, this whole thing is fake. It's a Ponzi scheme, and it's on borrowed time. This is where I believe people need to be. Gold, silver. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. This is real money. This is real wealth. So a real interesting day today. Last night, futures absolutely destroyed. Supposedly, allegedly, the Chinese called the president today, and now everything is turned around. Just amazing how a phone call just turns everything around. Yet the Chinese denied making that phone call. And in fact, if we go back Saturday, they actually threatened the United States by saying that they will fight to the end and they will get the last laugh. So I find it ironic that they threatened us on Saturday, and then last night they're calling. So again, believe who you want, but as Jim Cramer said on CNBC today, it's better to believe the president, even if he's not telling the truth. It's better to believe him because it's better for the market. So we need to believe the lie. We need to believe the illusion. And I'm not saying that the president lied. It's very possible that the Chinese did call, but I don't believe that they did. And I support this president. I don't want to see the president fail, because if he fails, America fails, and I know what's coming right behind him. But we've got to look at reality today. We've got to look at the facts. The 2 and 10-year inverted yet again. We have an inverted yield curve happening once again. We got more negative economic news today, and we'll go over that. But we get more economic bad news. We have a yield curve inversion, and we're no farther into this trade war with China than we were months ago. It's just, in fact, it's escalated. It's gotten worse, and the market goes up. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that just a shock? We also have another huge major problem, as most of you know, and it's the deficits. They're getting bigger. And the question here is, as these deficits continue to grow, what happens when we officially have a recession here in America, as this debt and these deficits are absolutely blowing up out of control? This was on Zero Hedge today, this article. If deficits are this huge now, what happens when the recession hits? I'm going to go through this article real quickly with you. Year to date, the deficit is $866 billion with 2 months yet to go. So we're going to be nearly $1 trillion in this deficit just this year, probably a little bit over $900 billion, but approaching $1 trillion. This has occurred during a time of economic expansion when deficits should be smaller. But the opposite is happening. We're in this expansion, we're in this booming economy, and the deficits are getting bigger. Question here, if the deficits are this big right now, when we're in the good times, how big will they become when the U.S. enters recession territory? I don't think anybody really knows, but they're going to be gigantic. Deficits could top $2 trillion when the next recession officially hits. The central bank won't simply be able to buy up debt at will anymore. Interest rates will rise, government amenities will be cut. A lot of people are going to feel massive pain, and this is why I continue to repeat that you must be protecting yourself every way possible, mentally, physically, spiritually, and economically. Americans on federal programs are going to really feel the pinch. State governments are going to have to scale back as federal grants dry up. This is coming. Lower income households will really be affected by this. The feds are setting up the economy for a massive failure. We know that. It's beginning, and it's taken years to get to this point, years and years of borrowing and printing money and debt and deficits. And here we are. And the chickens are coming home to roost, and we are really running out of road to kick this can down. And I think most of you understand that. And there's still people out there on the fence that don't believe that this could happen, but it is happening right before your very eyes right now. This was more bad news today as the Dow Jones closes up. Core durable good orders disappoint as shipments slump most in 3 years. That's also on Zero Hedge. Durable good orders disappointed, falling 0.4% month over month. Shipments fell 0.7% month over month. That's on Zero Hedge. Do your due diligence. Do your homework and read for yourself the facts of what is really going on. So when somebody tells you how good things really are because the stock market was up today, there's about 100 reasons why things aren't so good today. Here's another article on Zero Hedge. American debt burden will fuel the next last crisis. This article was by Lance Roberts. Household and corporate debt combined with unfunded pensions will cause the next crisis. Going through this article, I'll paraphrase it really quickly for you. People believe they're entitled to a certain type of lifestyle, whether that be the type of house that they live in, the car, just the general lifestyle, beyond the general basic necessities. The latest cell phones, the latest computers, high-speed internet, name brand clothing, etc. People are living beyond their means, trying to live a lifestyle that they cannot afford. And they will basically put themselves into massive debt to live in a certain type of lifestyle. This lifestyle is hard to maintain with today's real wage. After you add today's inflation, which means your purchasing power is about the same as it was 40 years ago. And people are trying to live this certain type of lifestyle, and they cannot afford it. And they are going to pay a very serious price for trying to be something that they're not. It's nice to have a great lifestyle. It's nice to be able to go buy a nice car, a nice piece of jewelry. There's nothing wrong with that. But it depends on how much debt it's going to put you in. If you have to finance a piece of jewelry, you are making a very bad decision. If you're financing a car for 8 years, you're making a very bad decision. You're buying something that is devaluing as soon as you drive it off the lot. It's worth nothing a few years down the road, and you're financing a vehicle for 8 years. Subprime loans, doing any type of subprime loan is a big mistake. The real cost of raising a family in the US has grown incredibly more expensive with surging food, energy, health, and housing costs. People just cannot keep up with the cost of living. The real crisis comes when there is a run on pensions. With a large number of pensioners already eligible for their pension, the next decline in the markets will likely spur fear that benefits will be lost entirely. The combined run on the system, which is grossly unfunded at a time when asset prices are dropping, will cause a debacle of mass proportions. This will require a massive government bailout. I mean, just think of the bailouts that we could possibly see with student loan debt, credit card debt, pensions, state and local governments. It's just insane what is going on in America right now. Consumers will contribute their fair share to the problem, as we've already said earlier. Leverage with subprime auto loans, mortgages, student loan debt, credit card debt. When the recession hits, there will be a reduction in employment. So we're going to see an uptick with unemployment because companies are cutting the fat. They're going to be getting rid of people. We're in a global slowdown, as most of you know. We're heading into I believe, a very serious depression here in America. When employment starts ticking up, it's going to destroy. When people become unemployed, it's going to destroy people's personal savings because they're going to eat that savings up to try and survive and weather the storm. They will no longer be a consumer. They're not going to be able to go out to dinner. They're not going to be able to go stay and do their weekend vacation. They're not going to be shopping at the retail stores. They're going to just be trying to hang on and pay the necessities like food, water, the gas bill, heating, electricity. They're just going to be, paying the mortgage and hanging on. We will see a strain on the government welfare system. More people than ever will need to draw from it because how many people, when we hit this recession, depression, how many people are going to lose their jobs? They're going to be on unemployment. They're going to be on welfare. And so now the government has to step in and write more checks. I mean, the government is broke. So where's this money coming from? They're going to have to borrow more money. The good news is that it can all be solved by issuing more debt. The bad news is when there are no buyers willing to continue to fund fiscal irresponsibility, who's going to buy the debt? And on top of that, what happens as you continue printing this money? It is going to devalue the purchasing power of the dollar. Then we start seeing hyperinflation. So I believe that this Federal Reserve, these central banks are in a corner, big trouble ahead. And I think that the central banks, the Federal Reserve, must go. The benefits of a profoundly shattering recession, also zero hedge today. You can look this up. Lower rates won't fix the problem. If it did, Europe and Japan would be experiencing rapid expansion instead of stagnation right now. Benefits of a recession will be a cleansing. We honestly need a massive recession here in America, and as brutal as that sounds, it's reality. The last one in 2008 should have been allowed to finish. We need free markets where the market dictates what the interest rate's going to be, not 12 people sitting behind closed doors at a table dictating what the interest rate should be because the wind's blowing this way or that way. Let the free markets determine what happens in this economy. Let the free markets determine what the interest rate should be. Let thousands and thousands of investors determine what and where rates go and what direction this economy goes. It shouldn't be up to a handful of people. Zombie corporations and local governments that have been insolvent will finally go bankrupt, cleaning the system of the dead weight. This is the benefit of having a recession. This is what should have happened in '08. We should have cleared out these financial institutions and these dead banks, these zombie corporations, these zombie banks, cleared them out and let healthy ones come in and take their place. But they scared everybody by saying the world was going to end, America was going to be over, we'd have martial law on the streets tomorrow if the taxpayers didn't bail out the banks. They didn't tell you about the foreign banks, and we must bail out the automakers too. I mean, this is just ludicrous. The everything bubble will finally pop, stripping the system of the phantom speculation, wealth, and fictitious capital price discovery will once again be possible as all central bank inflation bubbles will pop and real demand and supply will set the price of assets. Financial predation and trickery will be banned, such as the trickery of corporate buybacks. This was illegal in the 80s, and it should be illegal today, because you talk about manipulating markets, manipulating the price of stocks. Corporate buybacks does exactly that. Speculation will no longer be enabled and rewarded by zero interest rates or negative rates. All cartels and monopolies that depend on debt will implode. This is what needs to happen. And a lot of people are going to get hurt. It's going to be brutal, and there's going to be a lot of pain felt. But we are not going to survive as a country. We're not going to have a real economy unless we clean this mess up right now. The U.S. needs a reset, and needs a reset right now. The U.S. also needs a gold standard. We need to do something about this fiat paper currency that is backed by nothing, completely worthless, and can just be printed out of thin air by the central bank. The recession must be allowed to happen to get rid of the financial and political parasites and predators that have corrupted our economy, our government, and our society. Before I wrap this video up, please comment down below. I would be very curious to know what everyone out there thinks happened this morning. Was this pure manipulation of the market as we witnessed this 700-point pump-a-thon? Was it the manipulation by the president and Steve Mnuchin coming out telling us that they had received a phone call by the Chinese? Or was it more than that? Was it pure market manipulation, market rigging, the plunge protection team? What drove these markets today as they were getting decimated last night, as the Chinese and Japanese market were decimated last night? We witnessed gold going through the roof last night, silver up 40, 41, 42 cents. And it still had a pretty decent day today. They drove gold down to pretty much being flat. Silver hung on. I think it's up about 28 cents right now. I think gold is up about $1.90, somewhere around there. But they drove the metals down, but they did not beat them down. So they're still doing very, very well. But please comment down below, what drove these markets to turn around and go positive, this pump-a-thon that took place? Please comment down below. In closing, I talk to people all the time, friends, associates, and whatnot. Everybody that I talk to, people that I talk to in the comments, very, very concerned about the future. Nobody has a crystal ball. I know that there's people out there who have sold a house or are selling a house or thinking about selling a house, and what to do, where to put cash. There's just so many uncertainties out there. And I think when there's a lot of uncertainties and a lot of unknowns, you got to sit back and wait it out a little bit. This is no time to rush into anything. This is time to be, in my opinion, I'm not a financial advisor, but in my opinion, this is time to be very, very patient. And my strategy is to keep acquiring this silver, gold, stacking some cash, because I believe there's going to be massive sales when there's blood in the streets. I believe that we're going to see massive sales on Wall Street. I believe the stock market is so overvalued right now. And that's one reason putting cash away, I think, is a good idea, because you're going to be able to come in and buy this stuff for pennies on the dollar. Now, cash is one of the worst assets you can put away because it's devaluing every day. So this is why I like this stuff. But I think you got to have some cash in hand just in case, because I believe if anything happens to the currency, I believe the dollar will be the last one to go down. And what if they back the dollar with gold or silver, or partially back it? We don't know. Nobody has the crystal ball. Nobody knows what's going to happen here with the unknown. There's a lot of moving parts here. A lot of things can happen. A black swan can fly in from left field and change everything. So I think my personal opinion, and more than happy to hear yours, comment down below. What is the right preparation, at least financially right now? What, a lot of people will comment and say, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, but they don't say what you should do. What should you do? What are you doing? I'd be very curious to hear from you what you are doing with your preparations. And of course, food, water, security, all that. But let's just keep it at financially. What are you doing? Are you in cryptos? Are you putting cash away? Are you doing a land purchase? Are you buying income producing property? Are you buying silver, gold, diamonds, platinum? What are you doing? I'd be very, very curious. And I'm sure a lot of people read these comments. A lot of people would like to know what you're doing too. What do you recommend? What is good, in the environment that you're in, that you're doing? Personally, again, for me, it's gold, silver, and cash, and of course, security. Along with all my other preps. But when it comes to the financial side of things, it's gold, silver, and cash. Again, be very curious to know what you are doing. So I'm going to close this video out. I hope everybody has an incredible week. This is just absolutely insane what we are watching transpire in these markets. And the more that this happens, the more it should be telling you that the system is rigged, and it should be telling you why you need to protect yourself. Because just think, when they lose control of these markets, reality is coming. And when reality hits these markets, I promise you that these asset values are not what you're seeing today. They're going to be much, much less than what we're seeing. These markets are completely overvalued, and they need to be revalued, and they will. And so if you believe everything is okay, if you believe the central banks have everything under control, if you believe that the stock market is legit and honest, and this is all just the natural flow of the market, then you continue to stay in these markets, continue to stack paper and stocks, and we look at bonds. Last night, bonds were under 1.5%. They're around 1.3%, right? 1.53% right now. They were under 1.5% last night. And you just look at how much money people are losing by putting money in bonds. It's an absolute joke. But there's panic, there's uncertainty, and so we're seeing these yields just plunge. We're seeing the inverted yield curve take place again. We're seeing manufacturing slipping. We're seeing real estate slipping. We're seeing people getting behind in auto payments, credit card payments. We're seeing people living on credit. We're seeing a retail apocalypse. We are seeing nothing but bad signs. And these are the facts. And this is in the so-called good economy. I can't even imagine how bad this is going to be when we are officially in a recession. And heaven forbid we don't go into a depression, which I don't see how we are going to avoid it. So, if you believe everything's going to be okay, keep investing in paper. If you don't have faith in the central bank, the Federal Reserve, if you don't have faith in this system, in this Ponzi scheme stock market, then you better really think about obtaining and acquiring precious metals, hard tangible assets, because I don't know where else and what else the options are. The two most undervalued assets in the world, in my opinion, are gold and silver. And please comment down below, what are the best assets that you can think of right now to be putting money in? I would be curious, what other options are there other than gold, silver, maybe land, or an income producing property? But you better hope that if you have an income producing property, that the people that you're renting to don't lose their jobs, because if they lose their jobs, then what happens? So make sure that, you know, if you buy property, you're buying it in cash, or you're carrying a very small amount on a loan. So make sure that you have a very small note on that property, because if your renters get into trouble, you're going to have to carry the load. So I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think. Have an incredible week. God bless every one of you, and I will talk to you very soon.